Hello and welcome all to Zapro session on how to adopt AI for smarter procurement, the what, why, and how of it. All right. So during the session, if any of you have any questions, feel free to chat it out. I will be happy, my team will be happy to answer those for you. If not, if you have questions later on, you can always ask us via email or get in touch with us via LinkedIn and other public forums available to you. Right? With that, let's jump straight into the introduction of what we are going to see today. So I'm going to walk you through a brief introduction of who I am and what I do. And then I'm gonna walk you through evolution of AI, not just in procurement, but in software as a general application. Then how do we adopt AI into procurement, the benefits and risks of AI? And then we are going to talk about a couple of market trends that's happening in the space of AI. And then towards the end, we will move to a 15-minute demo of Zapro's product. And then finally, we will have an open chatter, open discussion on your doubts and your questions. With that, about me, I am Kapil, founder and CEO of Zapro. I have about 15 years of experience in the B2B commerce space, in the procurement and supply chain space. Before starting up, I was with KPMG, SAP, and a couple of other companies. Right? So, me and my co founder Daniel, we know each other for a long time. So, we came together to start this venture. About procurement, if you look at the evolution of what is procurement, what is AI in procurement, so it all starts with the basic process automation, right? So process automation means you can automate the process by human to human automation from a high cost country to a low cost country. You can outsource, you can have a global delivery models, you can have standard operating procedures, or you can simply adopt a digital procurement software and automate your process, right? So this is the early stages or the first stages of automation. And then you move on to do robotic process automation, right? Which stands on top of the procurement software, right? Where you eliminate repetitive tasks, right? With minimal or no cognitive inputs. Okay. Once you're well versed with the robotic process automation, then you start applying machine learning techniques. So, machine learning helps you uh, by providing recommendations by analyzing the transactions. So, to have the transactions, you need to have a procurement software, right, to record those digital transactions. By analyzing those transactions, the machine learning will give you some predictive patterns, some reactive recommendations, right? So, ML's functionality here is to behave like a human assist. Okay. As a next step, we have the artificial intelligence. Between machine learning and artificial intelligence, there is a thin line, right? The way I understand and the way I'm going to express today is machine learning gives you recommendations, but it still keeps the human in the loop. Artificial intelligence, on the other hand, is proactive. It suggests the actions. It may or may not involve a human to take to perform those actions, right? So that is the difference that I see as a difference between ML and AI. Okay, it usually has multifaceted capabilities, not just on a singular analytics platform like ML. Right? And then the final frontier is what we presently know as ChatGPT. Earlier, it used to be called as natural language processing, right? Where it possesses a human-like querying capabilities, language processing skills, uh, and ChatGPT is something that sits on top of this AI layer, ML layer, robotic process layer, and the classic process automation layer, right? Without all of these underlying cascading process groups, ChatGPT cannot fetch any data or cannot provide any intelligence. Right? So that's the evolution of AI, not just in procurement software, in general for any software, any process groups. Right? You need to have these five sections of growth. Right? About how it works to further deep down and understand little use cases. When it comes to process automation using a software, it is essentially a digital workflow that mimics a human action which is specific to a business flow. For example, in P2P, we have something called as intake forms, right? We use a software to fill the intake form and submit, right? A basic use case for process automation using a software. Now, move to the robotic process automation. You have many use cases like data migration, copy paste jobs, import, scheduler jobs, all of those, right? About machine learning, fraud prevention use cases, right? Three-way matching, OCR use cases are to name a few. Uh, the machine learning needs, again, like I mentioned in the previous slide, machine learning cannot operate on its own. It needs a process automation software to act as a digital platform, right? To sit on top of all these, right? And it needs a large amount of data to train itself to give the output that we are looking for, right? It reduces the human error, but it does not take the human out of the equation. Okay. Move on to artificial intelligence. Unlike machine learning, AI does not need a structured data to work with. It can work with all kinds of data from multiple different sources. Okay. It can be a human assist, but it can also make a decision on its own. Unlike ML, it needs continuous monitoring because sometimes it takes a decision on behalf of the human. You need to keep training, you need to keep monitoring to improve the accuracy, to ensure that it does not do any wrong calls, right? And finally, the NLP, right? NLP these days uses ChatGPT, uses both the company data and the public data to process the information and give you an output. Okay? It can, in many places, completely eliminate human tasks, right? However, it is an evolving technology with a lot of security loopholes and accuracy concerns, right? When it comes to procurement, the most highly used NLP use cases to summarize a contract, to analyze a spend report, and so on. Okay. The key takeaway I want the listeners to take away from this explanation is that AI is a clustered word, right? It is not a panacea, right? It's not a one-stop solution that gives you an answer for all of your problems, right? You need to go through a maturity curve to completely harvest the benefits of the latest developments like ChatGPT. Straight away adopting ChatGPT, straight away adopting an AI inference engine is not going to help if you haven't done the previous steps properly. Right? So there is a growth curve, there is a maturity curve, and it is cascading. You cannot skip a step and go to the final frontier. Right? That's the takeaway with this slide. So at this point, I would like to take a quick poll here, right, amongst the audience. Are you currently using any of the AI-based solutions in your procurement stack? Right? I'm going to give a minute for the people to answer in the comments. Right? Any kind of AI ML-based solutions in your current procurement stack. Okay, that's surprising. I'm getting many no's and few yeses. I think in 15 more seconds will be up. So let's wait. All right. Okay. So thank you for answering the poll. Let's move on to the additional slides. Right. Now, what we have seen so far, we have seen the evolution of artificial intelligence in software as a whole, not just in procurement. Right. And then we have seen what it takes for those specific process groups to work, what it takes for process automation to work, what it takes for robotic process to work, and so on and forth. Right now, let's see how the AI is applicable in the procurement, right? Specific to procurement. So, for the uninitiated in the call, procurement is majorly consisting of seven process groups listed here. First, the activity starts by analyzing the spend, and then you find a deal, right, by going to the market, discover the suppliers, conduct a sourcing event, right. You sign the deal using the contract capabilities, broadcast the deal through the catalogs, buy using the purchase request, intake, workflow approvals, goods receipt, and services receipt, get it invoiced using the API automation capabilities, and finally make the payments. So these are the six major high-level process groups that comprises of procurement. The seventh process group is the supplier side of things, right? So where a supplier needs to come back to you with the sourcing response, they need to sign the contracts, they need to submit the catalogs, they need to receive and acknowledge the PO, and so on and so forth, right? So within these seven core process groups, what are the possible areas that I think AI can help, right? So that's the next slide. So in sourcing, in spend analytics is one place where I see the latest technology. The Chat GPT can be a replacement of all kind of structured query, right? So earlier, how we used to do spend analysis is by fetching data from different sources, apply different, query the data, and then get a result, and then visualize the result. Right? That's how we can arrive at some kind of an inference, like top 10 suppliers, top 10 commodities, right? Or spend patterns, top 10 departments, so on and forth. But using ChatGPT, you don't have to do manual querying, right? You can query just like how you would chat, right? So this is one area where ChatGPT can completely replace SQL. The next area is supplier discovery. This is one area where ChatGPT, in my opinion, is of no use, right? You need to use the embedded machine learning recommendations or AI recommendations, where it can help you identify the best supplier for the specific commodity, right? ChatGPT cannot help you there, right? Even in the public marketplaces or even in the private marketplaces using the existing database, the embedded ML AI is the best support here rather than the ChatGPT. Same goes for a sourcing plan, right? ChatGPT can't be used there, but existing embedded AI is going to be of great use for coming up with recommendations by analyzing the existing demand, by providing a predictive demand, all that. Same goes for evaluations and awarding. Okay. So sourcing RFQ awarding is a complex process that needs scenario modeling and various different comparisons. Right? While ChatGPT can be used to collect user feedbacks from evaluators, present the evaluation results, it cannot be used to make an awarding decision on its own. Right? That's where the embedded ML, embedded AI is going to be of help. When it comes to the contracts, drafting, ChatGPT can completely replace any technology that is existing. Right, this is where a 0 to 1 game-changing difference is going to be. It is generative. It can create a fantastic can author a fantastic contract without any human intervention. Okay, this is one place where many of the companies are exploring to adopt ChatGPT, right, to manage their contracts. Same goes for contract negotiations. ChatGPT can be immensely helpful in these two sections, right? Summarization and contract analytics, right? So anything to do with contracts, it's a once in a lifetime change, right? So ChatGPT will completely replace the existing contracts, right? Throughout its life cycle. Okay? For catalogs too, ChatGPT can help you with generating better item descriptions because when it comes to B2B suppliers, if you notice a pattern, they're not that great in terms of providing better descriptions, better imagery, better classification and tagging, right? So these are the areas where ChatGPT can help a lot. It can help you to give a better item description. It can help you to find the right classification for the item, right? It can even point out the high risk suppliers, right? It can enhance the images submitted by the supplier, right? All of that. But when it comes to recommendations in the storefront, if you're looking at, let's say you're searching for an item, okay, and if you're looking at the system to give you a recommendation in terms of which item is good or which item is best suited for your requirements, ChatGPT won't be of much help there. Okay, the classic recommendation engines is going to be of help there. Okay, creating a PR. So earlier in our world, in the procurement world, we used to call it as guided buying. Right. In my opinion, ChatGPT can completely replace the existing guided buying suites. Okay. Yeah, it can give you a completely different capability when it comes to creating and submitting and approving a purchase request, right? Especially when it comes to approvals. Within OpenAI, within ChatGPT, there is a subgroup called as AGI, autonomous bots, where you can completely dash those bots, right? It is very similar to robotic process automation, but AGIs are much more intelligent than an RPA. Okay, it can approve, automatically approve, selectively approve, highlight and approve a lot of purchase requests, right? Completely eliminating the need for a human intervention. Okay. When it comes to buyer action, right, where the buyer decides, should I source this? Should I find a replacement item? Embedded AI, embedded ML, the existing recommendation solutions are the best suited solution rather than ChatGPT. Okay, you can use autonomous bots for prioritization, for autonomous sourcing. Anything to do with the recommendations, go with embedded AI. That's the best. Okay. AP automation, the classic existing OCR technologies that got nothing to do with this OpenAI trend, right? So a lot of intelligent systems from Google, from AWS, from the public market, our own proprietary technologies help you extract images, classify the images, right? Extract the information and properly parse it and present it as an invoice exists, right? So this is one area where it is already highly influenced by artificial intelligence, right? Many people are not aware of that. This is one area where it is already sophisticated. Okay. The arrival of ChatGPT hasn't brought much difference, in my opinion, at least in the context of. Okay. So is invoice reconciliation in three-way matching, in multi-way matching, in machine learning based matching, right? So these are the areas that are already automated, already sophisticatedly automated even before the arrival of ChatGPT, right? And in my opinion, the invoice OCR extractions and reconciliation extraction needs even more complexity because these deals with financial data, not just generative, not just recommendation. This deals with actual hardcore money. So AI is highly useful here and is used in companies like Zapro and other players in the market. Okay. In when it comes to discounts management, right? Prepayment discounts, factoring, reverse factoring, and supply chain finance. We can leverage ChatGPT for negotiating terms with the suppliers on an automated basis, right? That's one area where I do see high level of application within the AP automation context. Okay, but when it comes to risk assessment, especially payments risk, I do not see a use case from ChatGPT for those, right? Yeah, so those are few areas of procurement workflows where I see a healthy mix of latest AI technologies like GPT, AGI, and the existing AI technologies, which we call it as embedded AI, embedded AI, can be used in a right mix to solve the problem. Okay. However, I am constrained by my thoughts and exposure. People in the call, if you feel that there are some possibilities, some more possibilities that I am not aware of, I am not covering, feel free to comment it out. I would love to know more from you in terms of those innovative use cases, right? Do you think, apart from what I have mentioned, is there any other use cases where you feel ChatGPT, autonomous bots can be used? Any comments? Would love to make this session a little bit interactive instead of having it as one way. So, any thoughts you have, feel free to comment it out. Okay. So, finally, the benefits and risks, right? So, the risks of using ChatGPT kind of emerging technology is that it is not matured yet. Okay, it has a lot of bias. ChatGPT, if you people have used it already, I'm sure you have. It gives you multiple responses. It gives generative responses. It gives sometimes fictional responses. Okay, in a business context, all this three is a taboo. It cannot give multiple answers, right? Because business documents are fact-based documents, right? An invoice is completely matched or disputed, right? It cannot be different when you keep asking and getting different answers each time, right? It cannot hallucinate, right? And it cannot be biased, right? So all of those are little red flags that I see when using ChatGPT kind of technologies. Especially my primary concern is data exposure, because as you know, most of these NLPs are open sourced, right? Nobody knows what kind of data is being taken from the company and shared it to the public domain, right? And you don't have control over the way their software is stored and managed, right? So those are the concerns for me. As far as the benefit goes, we all know it completely automates many areas of procurement work, especially in contracts and discount management, and in guided sourcing, right? It completely automates the work, and it accurately does so in those areas, in those contexts, right? And by that effect, it saves time, and time is equal to money, and it gives you cost reduction. All right. So those are the AI benefits. But currently, software companies like ours are taking measured steps when we introduce ChatGPT kind of emerging AI, but we go all in when we use embedded ML and embedded AI, right? Because we know we control the stack, we control the technology, right? So that is my opinion in terms of the benefits and risks of artificial intelligence, right? I hate to use the word AI so many times because AI is such a loaded word. It denotes an umbrella of capabilities that we presently use and we plan to use, right? Not every AI is GPT, and GPT is not the only AI. Right? So, couple of market trends, mostly in the GPT area, is we have something called as refuel LLM that is specifically used for data classification, and for the autonomous bots that I mentioned about, there are plenty like Baby AGI, Stanford AGI, right? You can download that and create your own bots. And as far as the contract summarization goes, that specific piece of technology in the GPT world is called as chain of density thoughts, right? So that is what is used for content summarization. And Llama Index is another open sourced large language model that helps you with hierarchical parsing, where the hierarchical parsing helps the GPT to understand the events in a sequential way, so that when you query what is the status of my purchase request, it can give you the answer in a historical, in a chronological order, right? And that's where the hierarchical parsing comes and helps, right? And the final thing I want to highlight is about RAG, retrieval augmentation, where the GPT can answer not just from a single source, it can answer from multiple data sets, right, by comparing and contextualizing the result. Okay, which means when you do, for example, when you do sourcing, within sourcing, when you do award analytics, right, when you're evaluating, what can happen is using the RAG, right, the GPT can come up with recommendations not just based on the responses provided by the supplier presently. It can also pick up a couple of publicly available data about the supplier, their financial health, their geography, and their geographical risk, and then give a recommendation based on all of this. So this contextual recommendation is made possible by this RAG capabilities. So these are the five tech trends within the GPT world that I wanted to highlight, put it out and open for your thoughts and discussions here. And then if you have no comments, no points, no questions, then take you to a product demonstration of mine, right? So let me just check if anybody has commented anything. I see no comments. Okay. If you have no thoughts to share, I just have one more poll to run. So this is a second poll where I want to ask you, what aspect of AI adoption in procurement interests you the most? Is it the cost savings and efficiency, or is it the help with the contract management, which is the supplier relationship management, or is it the analytics and forecasting, or is it the compliance piece, the risk mitigation piece? Amongst these four capabilities that is highlighted here, which one interests you the most? Thank you, Kego. Cost savings and efficiency mostly, but also predictive analytics for demand forecasting. Can we bring boards for creating purchase order and purchase request with suppliers recommendation? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. This is what I tried to explain in the previous slide. Within ChatGPT, we have the autonomous bots. The difference between a robotic process automation, the RPA bots, and AGI bots is AGI bot can understand the context, right? It can create a PR, it can approve or reject a PR based on, uh, you know, based on a lot of inputs and thoughts, right? Yes. So the answer to your question is absolutely yes. Gary has asked me, would evaluate information gathered outside the procurement process for benchmarking? Yes, yes. So RAG is all about that, right? While we do have, it's a two-way sword, right? We do not want our AI engines to share our data outside. Okay, but we want the chatbots to fetch information from outside, from publicly available sources, to give us an input about the supplier risk, to know about geopolitical risk and natural calamities, financial risk, filing risk, and all other supply risk capabilities. Yes, that's made possible by this capability of ChatGPT. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Vincent and Gary, thank you for asking. If you have any more questions, please let me know. Okay. So I have one more question, then I can straight away jump into the product. Okay. How would you rate this session? Would you like to see more webinars from me and my team about AI, right? Or what is your opinion on that? The options are yes, no, and maybe. Thank you. Lovely, lovely. Glad to know your opinion and thoughts on those. Now let me share my screen and take you to my product. Okay. So this is the dashboard of Zapro, where you have four KPIs and two reports, which can be customized, and you can pick and choose from a library of previously available, previously curated KPIs. Okay. You have four quick access, a to-do list, and an activity bar. Okay. When you want to create a PR, you click the access here. You're taken to the PR page where most of the information is pre-populated, where you enter a purchase reason and you add item from an existing catalog or from a non-catalog. Okay, sorry, I think I wasn't sharing my screen. Let me rerun it again. Please, okay, we are still on the page, okay. Sorry, Antonio Hugo. Guys, I hope you can see my screen now. Okay. Screen is still not sharing. Yes, we can. Okay. All right. So this is the four KPIs. Okay. Where you can change the KPIs and pick from a library of previously curated KPIs. Two reports, right? That will take you to a bunch of previously curated reports and spend analytics for you. Go back to the dashboard. You have your task board and activity board listed here. If you want to create a PR, click here. You will be taken to the PR form where you have general information, where most of the information is pre-populated, where you can enter, right? You can add an item from the cart, or you can add an item from the non-catalog. You can see the workflow automatically populated here. The history in terms of who is populating, who is submitting, who is approving, everything will be here. And the comment section that allows you to collaborate internally within the company. Okay. If you open the modal, you will be able to update the supplier location, the shipping method, shipping term, payment term, contracts, the billing information, right? And the budget information. Okay. If the budget is not available, it's going to show you a symbol here. So you can choose the right budget. And if you're ordering on behalf of multiple departments, you can click split bill and share the cost with multiple departments. You can have line level attachments and header level attachments to denote any information, any specific information that you want to pass to the procurement team. Okay. Once you have curated everything that you want to curate, you can submit the purchase request, PR429. Now, if you come back, if you go to the dashboard, you will see that the PR429 is pending for approval here. Or if you come to the notifications, it should be there. If you pick, right, and if you open the PR429, you will be able to edit the cart, choose the right price, choose the right unit of measure. Okay, and submit it for approval. So the difference between the previous step and the current step is the previous step is performed by the end user, and the current step that you're seeing now is performed by the procurement team. Okay, where the end user has picked an item from the cart storefront where no manual editing of any kind is needed, the procurement team leaves it as it is. Okay, where the end user has requested for a cleaning service but did not know what supplier to choose from, what price to choose from, the procurement team can go in and make the selections, make the choices on behalf of the requester. And once the cart is completely populated and coded, it's ready to be submitted. Okay. Now, if you see here, the buyer, the procurement team has approved it, and the queue is right now with the HOD. Okay. If you want to manually add an approver, you can choose to add the approver from the list. If you want to remove the approver, you can just remove the approver. Okay. Once everyone in the chain has approved the purchase request, it will automatically become a purchase order. Okay. Where you will be able to see how many are already received, how many are already invoiced, so on and so forth. If you want to create a receipt, you can create within the purchase order, or you can go back to the table and flip the PO into a receipt. Yeah, so this is the receipt that got posted. From the receipt 152, you can create an invoice or you can ask the supplier to post the invoice. Usually, the invoice comes from the supplier portal, but in very few cases where the supplier is dependent on you to curate the invoice, you can directly create an invoice by flipping the PO. Okay. Otherwise, it is from the supplier portal the invoice would come from. Okay. The other way of creating an invoice is that the supplier can email a PDF file to you. The PDF file will be properly parsed, and invoice will go for a matching status or match failure status directly from the PDF file. Okay. There are plenty of other capabilities like you can conduct an RFQ, you can award you know the right vendor for the best price, okay, by the best total or by the best supplier, where you will be able to see the savings from the RFQ event that you have conducted. And you can also manage your time and expense submissions from your end users, right? Where you can directly ask them to create an expense report and submit the receipts, right? And many more capabilities. For example, for software purchases, you can use the contract module that is available within the software. If you would like to see more detailed demonstration with all of the capabilities covered, please let me know. Please reach out to my team. I will be more than happy to schedule those demonstration for you, right? With that, I open the session for questions and answers. Any questions? Do any of you have anything to ask, anything to share? Please feel free to chat or comment. Yeah, so let me just show that. Approval flows are pretty flexible in our application, right? Where you can have like parallel conditions, serial conditions, multitudes of possibilities. Depending on your use case, it can get very flexible. Thanks, Ramesh. Any questions from anyone? Any feedbacks? Anything that we can improve upon? Please let us know. Thank you, Vincent. Okay, with that, let's wait for a couple of more minutes for people to ask questions. If there are no questions, then I thank you, all the participants, and I encourage you, I invite you to engage with us, not just as a prospect or customer, but just to casually know and understand the industry, share the thoughts, and share opinions. Oh yes, George, we can. Thank you, Hugo. Lovely. With that, I conclude this session. Once again, thank you for joining. Bye.